Hello Underdogger, it's your boy Underdog Recapped. Before we start, warning, spoilers ahead. Today I'm going to recap a 2019 American crime action movie, called, Guns Akimbo. This movie is about the journey of an ordinary man who tries to escape from a show that required them to kill each other. Things get even more complicated when his ex has to be involved in being a prisoner. Can he save his life and his ex-girlfriend? Let's find out together, in a doggy-styled recap. The story begins with an ordinary young man named Miles Lee Harris. He is one of the many dreamers who can't live up to his childhood expectations of becoming the main character in his life. He doesn't enjoy working in his office, but he also has no other choice to make money. Until one night that changes Miles' entire boring life. As usual, he always spends his night commenting on the behavior of the Schism audience. Schism is an underground streaming website that shows fights and even kills other players. Almost all sociopaths and psychopaths in many places congregate on Schism for entertainment. The heinous act in Schism even causes terror in the real world and is wanted by the police. Although Miles is a loser in real life, he is a true trash talker behind the laptop screen. His ability to provoke people's emotions just through his comments is unquestionable. Like today, his remarks about the Schism audience who have no conscience make many people angry. In the end, he is surprised by one of the players who manages to track his IP address. Miles is so shocked that he immediately closes his laptop and hopes nothing happens to him. However, things become a little better after his ex, Nova, sends him a message and asks him to meet at the park tomorrow. Well, even though it came at the wrong time, Miles looks forward to tomorrow so much until carried away in his dream. However, his sweet dream of meeting Nova has to end because there is a thunderous knock on the door from his apartment door. It turns out to be Richter, the creator of Schism, who is involved in the comments on Schism earlier. He is drugged and kidnapped because Richter intends to give the appropriate punishment for Miles' fingers, who are very cruel in the comment section. Although not killed, it seems that something terrible will happen to Miles. And sure enough, it turns out that his body is operated by the Schism bastards earlier. Miles is shocked when he wakes up with two pistols bolted in his hands. Of course, he feels excruciating pain because their surgery skills are very poor and unprofessional. Miles can't do anything because every time his hand touches an object, it will hurt because the surgical scars are still fresh. Not finished with his suffering, Miles gets a message from Schism. They tell him to join the fight with Nyx if he doesn't want to die. Nyx is a favorite player in Schism, and she is a real Terminator. Her skill and viciousness in killing draw the attention of the entire Schism audience. Her criminal history even makes her become a police fugitive. The same goes for Nyx. She gets a message to kill Miles in exchange for her freedom, and her criminal history will be erased. Nyx immediately goes undercover to the police station without much thinking. He searches for Miles's data and sends malware to his phone to be tracked. Although she is surprised that her target is just an ordinary loser who doesn't even have a criminal history. Nyx doesn't care because he really wants to break free from Schism's snare. The story goes back to Miles. Remembering his promise to Nova at the park, he intends to go to Nova to ask for her help. He can't even change his clothes because his hand is bolted with a gun, and he decides to meet Nova with these shabby clothes. Before he leaves his apartment, he is greeted by Nyx's submachine gun. It turns out that Nyx already finds Miles' location and intends to complete his mission. Although stupid, Miles still knows that he is in danger. He distracts Nyx with a gunshot sound from the TV and quickly flees through his apartment window. Miles keeps running until he meets the police. But when Miles tries to explain his situation to the police, he is mistaken for a dangerous drug addict with a gun in his hand. Miles' plan to ask the police for help ends up being chased by the police. Suddenly Miles accidentally shoots the policeman because he falls. For Miles, this is an opportunity to escape from the police and Nyx. He immediately ran away and approached Nova in the park. Fortunately, Miles still had time to jump into Nova's car, which she almost left Miles. Even though Nova is surprised by Miles' strange arrival, for Miles, Nova is the savior he needs right now. Miles also tries to explain his situation to Nova. Instead of getting help, Nova thinks Miles has become a maniac with both guns in his hands and immediately leaves Miles. Miles, who doesn't want to be caught by Nyx, instantly hides in a closed dump. His cowardly action really entertains the audience. The number of viewers increases thanks to his actions significantly. Meanwhile, Nova reports this incident to the police. The police immediately move to look for Miles. They plan to use Miles as bait to catch Nix. The story continues with Miles heading to his office after being helped to change his clothes by a homeless person who is not far from a clothes dump. Miles feels that Nix can always find him all along because there is a tracker installed on his cell phone. He intends to ask his friend at work to remove the tracker. Unexpectedly, Nix comes to Miles' office to kill him. Luckily, the tracker is temporarily turned off, and Miles continues his escape. Miles and Nix get into a chase on the streets, which gets them into an accident. Of course, it isn't enough to injure these two. Nix goes back to chase him again into the old factory. Here, Miles manages to deal a crushing blow to Nix. Miles, who accidentally fires a gun at the gas pipe, manages to create a big enough explosion. That shouldn't have been enough to silence Nix. However, Nix has terrible memories of fire. Every time she sees a fire, he will be reminded of her accident as a child. After escaping from Nix's pursuit again, Miles begins to despair and returns to contact Nova one last time. He manages to explain everything to Nova, that he is being framed by the schism bastards. He doesn't really want to kill, but instead, he is being chased by Nix. Before Miles had time to let go of his longing for Nova, Richter actually comes to Nova's house and kidnaps her. Richter threatens Miles to fight again with Nix, or Nova will be killed. Miles starts to get confused again. When he wants to give up his life, he even involves the people closest to him in danger. He thought hard to make this incident end. He decides to tell Nix his location and the police, so he doesn't need to get into a gunfight with Nix. However, Miles gets into a new problem. The meeting place he chose turns out to be a place for other gangsters' illegal transactions. The gangsters who see Miles see him as a threat. They intend to kill Miles. Luckily, Nix arrived just in time before Miles was finished off by the other thugs. Although Nix's arrival helps him, Miles is still waiting for the police to arrive to surrender himself to the police. When the police came to the given location, they also secured him. Although it doesn't go according to his plan to have the police and Nix fight, at least he's safe now. He is taken in by the detective and his partner that Nova met earlier. The detective tells who Nix really is. Nix is the daughter of the detective who arrests Miles. In the past, Nix's father was framed by Richter, which made him lose his wife and son. Nix, who can't move on from the tragedy, considers it his father's fault and leads her into the wild. The detective intends to save Nix from getting too involved with schism. However, his plan must fail because it turns out that his partner is a traitor and an accomplice of Richter. The detective is being shot and cannot be saved again. Richter warns Miles again so he doesn't mess around again, or Nova will be killed. He finally found a solution that needed to be tried. He searches for Richter's hideout by tracking Nova's cell phone. He also invites Nix to cooperate with him. Although Nix is suspicious of Miles' intentions. But finally, Nix agrees with his plan after Miles explains that the real cause of his family's death is Richter. They plot to make Nix look like killing Miles. Miles tells Nix to shoot him in the chest, which he had previously coated with Nix's father's Kevlar. The plan made the audience and Richter believe that Nix had killed Miles. Richter is completely unaware that Miles intends to take advantage of this incident to find Richter's hideout. Miles manages to get to Richter's hideout and finish off Richter's orders, transporting Miles' body. He also opened the door for Nix, who followed the car that brought Miles. He discovered that Richter had expanded schism all over the world. He intends to create a schism franchise like McDonald's and Starbucks. They finally continue the search for Nova and Richter. However, it is not that easy to get Richter. They have to deal with the rest of Richter's men. Without much thinking, Nix sacrifices herself so Miles can continue killing Richter. Nix chooses to blow himself up with Richter's men to make way for Miles. Miles doesn't want to waste Nix's sacrifice. He immediately chases Richter, who runs away to the roof. Miles' pistol, which only has one bullet left, makes him get several shots from Richter. However, Miles, who has been gone this far, doesn't want to end up dying at Richter's hands. He manages to corner Richter and knock him off the top of the building. Today, Miles got a big win. He kills the enemy who traps him and saves Nova. Things are slowly improving. Nova returns to her normal life but not with Miles. He chooses to become an assassin who will eradicate all branches of schism in many countries. Well, that's how the story ends. Glad to see Richter pay for what he has done and Miles who has become his childhood expectation. From this movie we can learn that even a rabbit can bite if its life is threatened. What do you think of this movie? Let us know what you think in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you for watching, and as always, see you next time. Let us know what you think in the comment below.